First drafts are the thing most young or beginning writers struggle with. Well, let me be clear. Finishing a rough draft is the thing they struggle with. The thing I struggled with. I think most writers face that hurdle at some point in their life. I started a lot of first drafts, but I never finished them. But then I did. And then I did it again and again and again. So that's what today's video is about. It's about writing a rough draft. It's about finishing a rough draft. I describe the outline as a roadmap, and I think it's a fair metaphor to describe a novel as a road. You're building a path from A to Z with stops along the way in every chapter, and you want your reader to travel that road. But that's not what a first draft is. It varies wildly. Some of my first drafts are nearly complete as is, through tight outlining, discipline, and honestly, mostly luck. The revisions process on those was largely just cleaning up the language and grammar, which is necessary work on every project. Easy as pie. But that's not most of them. Most require heavier duty work, whether that be cutting out tangents, removing characters altogether, adding characters, or even patching in a significant amount of story. Splatterfest, my slasher novel, needed 20,000 extra words during the revisions process, and that's, in the grand scheme of things, not that much, honestly. So, in my last video, I showed you how to write an outline. After that's done, after the chapters are laid out and my characters are built, I start my first draft. I write to my outline, and I try to get at least a chapter a day done. If I'm in flow, I'll write until I'm run out of gas. Largely, I focus on what's right ahead of me. The scene, and then the chapter as a whole. I don't worry about if incidental details will create continuity errors. I worry about the big picture. What do my characters want? And how are they going to get them? It's easy to get lost in the weeds by worrying 10 chapters ahead. Keep your focus on what's directly ahead of you. Set up a chapter, and then knock it out. One by one, you finish a chapter, and eventually, your draft is done. Now, you might say, if it was that simple, I wouldn't need to watch this video. You'd be right. You will struggle, especially if you've never finished a first draft before. A lot of writers get caught up in self-editing, or getting trapped thinking that their writing isn't good enough. Any rough draft will not be perfect. Your first novel's rough draft will not be perfect. No matter how tightly you outline, or how good a plotter you think you are, your rough draft will have problems. It will have characters that need to be excised or changed. Your grammar and language will need to be cleaned up and polished. You'll need to add or remove plot elements to make things flow smoothly. So don't try and make it perfect. Perfect is the enemy of great, which is the enemy of good. Make your first draft good enough. That's it. Good enough. That's all it has to be. You are building a rudimentary road that you will be laying down asphalt down over later. A lot of what you're building now will not be seen. It's the interior of a cake, which you'll be covering in frosting. If there's a chapter in the middle that you know needs to exist, but you don't know what to put in it, skip it. Same thing with one at the beginning or at the end. Insert a placeholder. Write what details you do know, and leave it for later. I've written multiple first drafts where I've gotten to the last chapter, and I didn't know how to end it. I stared at it and thought about it, but when you're in the thick of it, in the weeds, it's hard to get the distance needed to make an objective judgment. So I skipped the last chapter. I passed that off to future Robbie. He can take care of it. If you've got 85 to 90% of the novel done, it's good enough. Keep those words in your head. Good enough. Trying to come up with a clever piece of dialogue, but you're stuck? Write the rough version of it. Move on. It's good enough. If you're 2/3 of the way through your first draft and it doesn't quite line up to your outline and you can't think your way out of it, don't worry about it. Write to your outline, even if the details don't match. Good enough. Get words down. It's normal to slow down in the middle, or the muddle, as a lot of writers refer to it as. Write fast as you can, faster than your self-doubt. Use timers, do word sprints with friends, or on a writing Discord server, or even just against yourself. Get up an hour early. And as you're waking up, just write. That early morning brain fog can be a benefit, because it'll stop you from second-guessing yourself. You'll hear those thoughts, that your words aren't good enough. But make no mistake, they are. Because at this stage, any words are good enough. Any and all of your writing can be revised, edited, changed, and molded into what it needs to be. But that's future you's problem. Another tip, if you're struggling. Write a scene of dialogue between your main characters. Let them talk about their problems, and oftentimes they'll reveal what they want and how you need to get them there. Will this scene stick around in your final draft? Maybe, but it doesn't matter. It'll get you moving forward. Momentum. You want to create and then continue that momentum. Cultivate it. You'll write and knock out those chapters one by one. You'll struggle here and there, but remember, good enough. That's all you need. Slowly but surely, you'll make progress, and then you'll hit a moment when there's more of the book written than unwritten. Then it's downhill. Don't slow down here. Go faster. Build that momentum. Build excitement. Get excited to write the climax, to build to the end of your character's journey. Chase that excitement, and soon your first draft will be done. But this isn't the end of the video. First things first. Celebrate. Especially if it's the first time you finished a rough draft. Treat yourself, even if it's to something small. This is a victory. And in writing, you celebrate them as they come. So, celebrate, and after you're done picking up the confetti, I want you to save your files, back them up somewhere, and then forget about them. Close them, put them away. Forget that draft exists. Now, I want you to write another one. Yes, that's right. I want you to do the whole process over again. Decide and develop an idea. Use the idea to write an outline, and then write a first draft. But I need to revise what I just finished. And you will, after some time has passed. I can tell you to just wait a couple months, but what will be even more helpful is to focus on finishing another first draft. Get those reps in. So do it again. You know you can do it now, so do it again. Use the strategies that got you through the first time. Don't bother with the stuff that wasn't helpful. By the time you finish that second rough draft, it'll be time to go back to your first. With time away from it, with your mind consumed by an entirely different story, the first will be fresh and you'll be better equipped to judge it fairly. The first round revisions will be the topic of my next video, along with seeking out and getting feedback from other people. Have any questions about first drafts or other topics you'd like to see me tackle? Leave a comment below and I'll get to them. I'm Robbie Dorman. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you really liked it, click subscribe. Thanks for watching. And until next time, be seeing you.